Immanuel Quickley has looked sensational for the New York Knicks this season. He looks like another candidate to win Sixth Man of the Year. And the Knicks are not the only team noticing this. According to reports, multiple teams are currently monitoring Immanuel Quickley and looking at what he's doing. We're going to break down who these teams are and what team has the best chance of landing Immanuel Quickley if the Knicks choose to not match any offer from a team this offseason. We're going to break down this and so much more today. So be sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. According to reports, several teams are currently monitoring Immanuel Quickley. This is not surprising at all to me in the least, folks, because if you go back to last season, there were a number of teams already interested in IQ and looking to trade for him. There were teams willing to give up first-round picks to the Knicks for Immanuel Quickley, but the Knicks ultimately decided not to trade IQ, and that turned out to be the best decision because Immanuel Quickley balled out. He became a runner-up for Sixth Man of the Year. Arguably, he should have won that award. And also, he was one of the main reasons why the New York Knicks went to the playoffs. So Immanuel Quickley and his impact cannot be understated. This season, he's also having a great season. Sensational. He's balling out again. He definitely is a candidate for Sixth Man of the Year again. And now, a lot of teams around the league are looking at him potentially to see if they can trade for him at the trade deadline or if they could offer him a great contract this offseason. Because again, the Knicks can match any offer for Immanuel Quickley this offseason. He's a restricted free agent. But if they will or not, that remains to be seen. And according to reports, a lot of teams around the league right now are looking at the situation in New York around Immanuel Quickley, seeing what the New York Knicks are going to do with him at the trade deadline or this offseason. According to Fred Katz of The Athletic, teams around the league are waiting to see how the Knicks handle Quickley before the trade deadline. And Bleacher Report Greg Schwartz actually gave his input on what teams are looking to potentially trade for Immanuel Quickley or obtain him this offseason. According to Schwartz, the San Antonio Spurs, Toronto Raptors, Miami Heat, Washington Wizards, and Utah Jazz all need long-term solutions at point guard and should be at the top of the list of teams that call to check on Quickley's asking price. If the Knicks want to better balance out their roster while adding another all-star caliber player, using Quickley as trade bait may be best for everyone involved. And he has a BS meter regarding all the reports surrounding Immanuel Quickley. And here's his result on that. No BS here with Quickley's minutes down and the Knicks hovering around the middle of the East. Rebuilding teams with a need at a guard should be calling. Shout out to Greg Schwartz from Bleacher Report for giving us this huge update about Immanuel Quickley and the teams potentially interested in trading for him or adding him this offseason. And the main team that Greg Schwartz listed for me that needs a point guard more than any other team that he listed is the San Antonio Spurs. They're having a little bit of an experiment, I think is the best way to put it, at the point guard position in San Antonio right now. Most recently, they had Jeremy Sohan playing point guard, and it was a disaster. I think the last San Antonio game that I saw, Devin Vassell was running some of the point guard duties. So they have no idea what they're doing at point guard this season. It looks like they're going to play a lot of different players at that position the entire season just to see what they can get out of different players and see how they can utilize them. But honestly, if you're asking me, it is a nightmare doing that with different players, especially because certain players don't fit the mold of point guard. And if you use them at point guard, you might hurt their value. And I think Popovich has done that just a little bit with Jeremy Sohan because at point guard, his usage went down and he did not look good at all. Hopefully for the rest of the season, he can play a little bit better and get that value up because it definitely did go down during this season. But Immanuel Quickley can help that team immediately. He would help run the ship immediately. Could you imagine Immanuel Quickley and Wembanyama doing pick and rolls, him throwing a lob up there, him throwing floaters up there? He would help right the point guard position at the Spurs immediately. He brings stability at the point guard position there. He would start immediately for the San Antonio Spurs, but more than that, he would get a lot more opportunity. That team would be a little bit more his team and Wembanyama's team because he would be the leading guard for that team without question. There would be nobody else. So believe me when I say the San Antonio Spurs are in desperate need of a point guard. If the Spurs are able to trade for Immanuel Quickley or they're able to sign him this offseason, they would fill their point guard need immediately. Not only that, Immanuel Quickley would start immediately. He would have an impact immediately. And Quickley and Wembanyama would be a show. Could you imagine Quickley's floaters or his fake floaters that turn into actual alley-oops to Wembanyama? Immanuel Quickley would learn so much from Popovich. He would grow under Popovich. He would become a better player, a better point guard. And I think over the course of his career playing for Pop, if used correctly, I think Immanuel Quickley would definitely make an all-star for the Spurs. I don't question that at all. And seeing him and Wembanyama play basketball together would just be a box office type of show each and every year. It's exactly what the Spurs need right now. And if you look at the guards around the league, in terms of quality guards, look at the guards that are available. Immanuel Quickley, you might be able to get him for a cheaper deal than some of those guards. He could be a guard you can grow with given his age, and he would be an immediate impact. Look at what he's doing with the Knicks right now off the bench in limited minutes. Limited minutes. If you remember what Greg Schwartz stated in that article, Immanuel Quickley's minutes are down, and his offensive impact isn't as prominent as it was last year. And that's probably because his role is less than he was last year as well, too. A lot of players off the bench right now for the Knicks are Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart. They're getting a lot of the minutes. Quentin Grimes getting a lot of the minutes. Even though Immanuel Quickley, when he comes back from this minor injury that he's dealing with, I believe he has some inflammation in his knee. Once he comes back from that, he's definitely going to get more minutes off the bench. But it is something to note that his minutes have been down, and the Knicks didn't re-sign him. And if you choose not to re-sign him in a contract year for Immanuel Quickley, who just came off of almost winning Sixth Man of the Year, and he might be a candidate to win it this year again. And if he wins Sixth Man of the Year this year, and we go to the playoffs, and he has a great playoff run this year, Immanuel Quickley's price tag will shoot up. And what the New York Knicks need to pay him, I don't know what that's going to be. But if they choose not to, a number of teams that Greg Schwartz stated here might be interested in getting Immanuel Quickley on their team. Just to go ahead and look back at them again. The San Antonio Spurs, Toronto Raptors, Miami Heat, Washington Wizards, and the Utah Jazz. All of these teams, according to Greg Schwartz, have a long-term need for the point guard position. So if the San Antonio Spurs do not have any interest in Quickley or go a different direction or find another player that they want to put at the point guard position, then there are a number of teams still on that list that could use a point guard that Immanuel Quickley could potentially start on if he was on that team right now. Toronto Raptors, for me, is another team to look at because they are devoid at a point guard position since Fred VanVleet left. And with a number of players on their team right now with a question mark in regards to will they be on the roster next season, they might have a lot of money to throw at Immanuel Quickley's direction. And another NBA insider in Kurt Halen for NBA Sports states that if the Knicks won't pay Quickley next summer, they should try to get a return on him now. And he continues by stating, if a deal comes up that can help the Knicks become a bigger playoff threat this season, Leon Rose in the front office may have to consider it. I absolutely agree with this report here. If Immanuel Quickley is not in your long-term plans, then the best thing you can do is flip him for the most value. Get significant pieces back that you can utilize this season to compete in the East. Or if you're not going to do that, try to sign and trade him this offseason to another team for a significant piece. Because let's get this straight. Even if the New York Knicks re-sign Immanuel Quickley, it's not because they're looking to keep him long-term. Not in my opinion. Because they're not looking to keep Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, and Immanuel Quickley and that amount of money tied to their bench. Obviously, they're looking to trade for a star or a superstar player. If that's the case, then you can't have that much money on your bench. You're going to have to make a trade at some point in time. So even if Immanuel Quickley is in the New York Knicks short-term plans, it's definitely not in the long-term plans for the Knicks to retain Immanuel Quickley. If anything, what makes sense is the Knicks utilizing Immanuel Quickley and whatever contract they end up giving him in a trade for a star or a superstar player. That's what they want to do. And they need to make a trade clearly for better talent that can help them have more size and also that can help them shoot better. The Knicks are going to be big time players this trade deadline, and Immanuel Quickley may be one of the pieces that they utilize to get that other star or that piece on this team. But what do you guys think about these reports that these following teams in the Spurs, the Raptors, the Heat, the Wizards, the Jazz, all of these teams could potentially be interested in trading for Immanuel Quickley or picking him up this offseason? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.